There is a white plastic jug sitting on the workbench in my garage right now, and next to it is a bag of plain white crystals that most folks walk right past in the drugstore aisle. Together, they cost me about $2 every time I feed my lawn. This morning, I mixed them into an ordinary hose-end sprayer, walked my backyard here in Ohio at a steady pace for about 15 minutes, and that was the whole job. In 4 or 5 days, that grass will deepen into a green. I never got out of a $25 bag from the store where I worked for 25 years. I learned this mix from Amish farm families who came through my counter every spring, buying these same 2 items by the case, and never once buying a bag of lawn fertilizer. Now I know exactly how that sounds. But there is no magic in this jug, and no secret ingredient either. Just some old patient chemistry that quietly fell out of fashion when the fancy bags took over the shelves. Stay with me to the end, because the reason this $2 mix outgreens the expensive bags comes down to one small thing sitting at the dead center of every single blade of grass in your yard. Nobody at the garden center ever explains it, and once you hear it, you will never read a fertilizer label the same way again. I'm Larry Mitchell. For 25 years I ran the lawn and garden counter at our town's hardware store, and I watched every bag and bottle come across that counter. I saw what folks returned, what they bought again, and what actually fixed their yards. These days I just keep my own lawn here in Ohio, and my wife Diane says it's my second marriage. Now let me guess where your lawn stands. You fed it in April. It greened up nice for a few weeks, and you felt pretty good standing on the front porch with your coffee. Then somewhere around the middle of June, the color started draining out of it like a photograph left in the sun. So you went back to the garden center. You bought another bag. Maybe a different brand this time, the one with the bolder promises on the front. And the same thing happened again. That cycle is the single most common story I heard across my counter for 25 years. Same customers, same complaint, every single summer, standing there holding a bag that cost more than their dinner out. The trouble is not that you are doing it wrong. The trouble is what is inside most of those bags. The color they give you comes almost entirely from fast nitrogen, and fast nitrogen is like a sugar rush for grass. Big flush of green, then a crash. And I will just say this plainly, because I stood on the selling side of that counter. The bag is not built to fix your lawn once. The bag is built to bring you back next spring. That is not a scheme. That is just how the business works. But nobody at the register is going to say it out loud. Now keep that one small thing at the center of every grass blade in your back pocket, because it is the whole reason the $2 recipe works where the bag gives up. We will get there, I promise. Now, everything I am walking you through today, the feeding, the timing, the whole yearly rhythm of a healthy lawn, is one piece of a full plan I wrote down, called Larry's 30-Day Weed Kill Protocol. It is the exact day-by-day system I follow to wipe out clover, crabgrass, dandelions, and the rest in 30 days, and then keep them from ever coming back, because a thick, well-fed lawn is the best weed control there is. It is written for homeowners who are tired of fighting the same weeds every single season. No fluff, just the plan, step by step, in the same friendly style I use in these videos. All 88 pages of it. It covers identifying the big 7 lawn killers, the kill protocol with my trusted tenacity system, organic and pet-safe alternatives that work, rebuilding the lawn afterward, and my month-by-month prevention calendar. It is $17 right now, marked down from $47, which is less than one of those bags that quits on you in June. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right. Back to the workbench in my garage. because it is time to meet these two ingredients properly. The bag of white crystals is Epsom salt. You will find it at any drugstore or grocery store, usually near the foot soaks and bath supplies, in a plain bag or a milk carton style box. Despite the name, it is not table salt at all. It is a mineral called magnesium sulfate, which is a fancy way of saying it carries two things your grass is quietly starving for: magnesium and sulfur. Hold on to the word magnesium. That word is going to matter a great deal before this video is over. A big bag of Epsom salt runs $4 or $5 and will feed an average lawn many times over, which works out to pennies per feeding. The white jug is plain household ammonia, the old-fashioned cleaning kind your mother probably kept under the kitchen sink. Ammonia is mostly nitrogen, and nitrogen is the nutrient that grass uses to build blades and color. It is the same nutrient that makes up the biggest number on every fertilizer bag. The difference is that a jug of plain ammonia costs about $2 at the grocery store, and one jug covers several feedings. Diluted properly in water, it becomes a gentle, fast drink of nitrogen that the grass takes up within days. Now, the Amish families who taught me this were not doing anything mysterious. Those farms out toward the Amish country east of us have run on thrift and patience for generations, and they simply never stopped using the plain versions of things after the rest of us switched to the colorful bags. They bought Epsom salt and ammonia off my shelves the way you or I buy milk. When I finally asked an older gentleman what it was all for, he looked at me a little puzzled, like I had asked why water is wet, and said his father fed the grass strips and garden edges this way his whole life. The old people knew things we are busy forgetting. That is really all this is. Before you buy anything, though, let's talk about what to look for on the shelf, because there are two mistakes that will ruin this recipe before you ever mix it. First, the ammonia must be plain and clear. Read the front of the jug. If it says lemon scented, if it says sudsing, if it lists any added detergent or fragrance, put it back. You want the boring jug, the one that just says clear ammonia. Those added soaps and perfumes do not belong on your lawn. Second, the Epsom salt must be plain too. Skip the lavender bath blends and the ones with added oils and scents. Plain Epsom salt, plain ammonia. If the label has more than one or two ingredients, it is the wrong one. It's simpler than you think. The cheapest, dullest versions on the shelf are exactly the right ones. Now, the recipe itself. Let's walk through it together, one step at a time, and I will repeat the numbers because the numbers are the whole recipe. Get a clean bucket or a large pitcher. Pour in about a half gallon of warm water from the tap. Warm, not hot. Now measure 1 level cup of Epsom salt. That is 1 level cup, not heaping, not 2. Pour the Epsom salt into the warm water. Stir it with a paint stirrer or a long spoon until the crystals disappear completely. Warm water dissolves it much faster than cold, which is the only reason we start warm. Take your time here. There is no rush at all. Undissolved crystals will clog your sprayer, so stir until the water looks clear again. Now measure 1 cup of the plain household ammonia. 1 cup. Pour the ammonia into the same bucket of dissolved Epsom salt water. Give it one gentle stir. Do this outdoors or in the open garage, because ammonia has a sharp smell, and there is no reason to stand over it in a closed room. That's the whole mixture. 1 cup of Epsom salt, 1 cup of plain ammonia, in a half gallon or so of warm water. Nothing else goes in. Not dish soap, not beer, not any of the other things the internet likes to add. The two ingredients are the recipe. Next, the sprayer. You want an ordinary hose end sprayer, the kind with a plastic jar that screws onto the end of your green garden hose. Any hardware store carries them for $10 or $12. And if you have one from an old bottle of weed killer, wash it out 3 times with clean water before you use it for this. Pour your mixture into the sprayer jar. Screw the jar onto the sprayer head until it is snug. Connect the sprayer to your garden hose. If your sprayer has a dial, set it to about 1 ounce per gallon. This one jar, sprayed out with the hose, will cover roughly 2,500 square feet of lawn. That is 2,500 square feet, which is a typical front yard or a modest front and side together. If your lawn is bigger, mix a second batch rather than stretching the first one thin. Now the application, and this part is more pleasant than it sounds. Pick your starting corner. Turn on the hose. Walk your lawn at a slow, steady pace, the same pace you would use pushing a mower. Sweep the spray gently side to side as you walk, like you are watering flowers. Overlap each pass by about a third, so no strip gets missed. Missed strips show up later as pale stripes, and your neighbor will ask about them. So overlap. When the jar runs empty, you are done spraying. Do not go back over areas that already got their share. More is not better with this recipe, and I will explain exactly why in a minute. Then, and this step matters, give the whole lawn a plain light watering afterward, about 10 minutes with the sprinkler. 10 minutes, just enough to rinse the mixture off the blades and carry it down to the roots where the real work happens. I keep promising you the why behind all this green. Hold that thought, because we are getting close, and it is worth the wait. Let's talk timing, because when you spray matters almost as much as what you spray. The best time is morning, after the dew has mostly dried, but before the heat of the day arrives. The second rule is temperature. Do not apply this when the day will climb above 85 degrees Fahrenheit. That is 85 degrees. Above that, the grass is stressed. The mixture dries too fast on the blades, and you risk streaking or tip burn. Spring and early fall are the natural seasons for this feeding, and here in Ohio, with our cool season grasses, those are exactly the months when the lawn is actively growing and hungry. As for how often, once every 3 weeks during the growing season is plenty. Every 3 weeks. Mark it on the kitchen calendar. If the lawn has gone brown and dormant in an August drought, skip the feeding entirely and wait for it to wake back up. Feeding a sleeping lawn just wastes your $2. Now, safety, and I am not going to rush this section, because I spent 25 years telling folks to read the label, and I am not going to stop now. Rule number 1, and this one is written in stone. Never ever mix ammonia with bleach, or with any household cleaner, or with anything at all besides the water and the Epsom salt in this recipe. Ammonia and bleach together create a toxic gas. I will say it once more, because it matters that much. Ammonia and bleach never touch each other, not in a bucket, not in a sprayer, not anywhere. Rule number 2, wear a pair of ordinary rubber gloves when you measure and pour, and stand upwind of the sprayer jar while you fill it. Rule number 3, keep the kids and the dogs off the lawn until you have done that 10-minute watering, and the grass has dried. Once it is watered in and dry, they can play all they like. Rule number 4, do not spray right up against ponds, creeks, or storm drains. Give any water a wide berth of 10 feet or so. Nitrogen belongs in your grass, not in the creek. And one more, from an honest man without a pesticide license. This recipe is a fertilizer, not a weed killer. And for the big chemical jobs, read the label and call a licensed pro when the label tells you to. So what should you actually expect? I am not going to stand here and promise you a magazine cover. What you will see on a lawn that is alive and growing is the color starting to deepen around day 4 or 5. And by day 7, the difference is plain enough that you will walk out with your coffee just to look at it. The growth picks up too, so plan on mowing a touch more often for a couple of weeks. What this recipe will not do is fix a lawn that is 90% weeds, or bring back grass that died of drought, or replace a real yearly program with a proper fall feeding. It is a supplement, a strong and honest one, the same way a good multivitamin helps a person who is already eating decent meals. If your lawn has deeper troubles, a $10 soil test from your county extension office is the best money in all of lawn care, and I will die on that hill. Before we get to the payoff, Let me save you from the 4 mistakes I know some of you are about to make, because I heard every one of them across my counter. Mistake 1. Doubling the recipe because 1 cup seemed to work so well. 2 cups of ammonia does not make the lawn twice as green. It burns it. 1 cup means 1 cup. Mistake 2. Spraying at 3 in the afternoon in July because that was when you had time. Wait for a cool morning. The grass will wait with you. Mistake 3. Skipping the watering in because the sky looked like rain. If the rain does not come, the mixture sits on the blades in the sun, and you get speckled burn tips. 10 minutes of sprinkler is cheap insurance. Mistake 4. Feeding a dormant, straw-brown drought lawn, and then blaming the recipe. Dormant grass is asleep. Let it sleep. And now that little white crystal in the drugstore bag, the Epsom salt, that is where the secret I promised you at the start has been hiding this whole time. Let's open it up. Every green thing on this earth, from the oaks along your street to the grass under your feet, is green because of one molecule, called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the tiny factory inside each blade that catches sunlight and turns it into food. And here is the part nobody at the garden center ever explains. At the dead center of every single chlorophyll molecule, holding the whole structure together, sits exactly 1 atom of magnesium. 1 atom of magnesium at the center of every one. No magnesium, no chlorophyll. No chlorophyll, no green. It does not matter how much nitrogen you pour on a lawn that is short on magnesium, because nitrogen builds the blade, but magnesium builds the color. That is why a lawn can be fed and still look pale and tired, like a fellow who eats plenty but never gets his vitamins. Now go look at the fine print on a bag of ordinary lawn fertilizer sometime. Most of them contain little or no magnesium at all, because magnesium is cheap. It is not the number that sells bags, and pale lawns keep customers coming back. Epsom salt is nearly pure magnesium sulfate. So when you spray this $2 mix, the ammonia hands the grass its nitrogen for growth, and the Epsom salt hands it the 1 atom that sits at the heart of the green itself. The old Amish farmers never talked about molecules. They just knew what 100 years of watching grass had taught their families. The chemistry finally caught up to what the old people already knew. And that right there is the difference between feeding a lawn and actually understanding one. The whole system, feeding, weed control, timing, recovery, the entire year, is written out day by day in Larry's 30-day weed kill protocol. It is the plan I would hand you across the counter if you walked in and said you were done guessing. 30 days to wipe out the clover, the crabgrass, and the dandelions. Then the prevention fortress to keep them gone, with organic and pet-safe options included for the folks who want them. $17, down from $47, and it replaces the pile of bottles most garages collect in a single season. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So, one more time, the whole recipe. 1 cup of plain Epsom salt. 1 cup of plain clear ammonia. Dissolved in warm water. Sprayed over 2,500 square feet on a cool morning. Watered in for 10 minutes, every 3 weeks while the grass is growing. If you start this over the weekend, come back and tell me how day 7 looks. I read every single one. And next time I am going to show you the one change to your mowing height that chokes out crabgrass before it ever sees daylight, and it will not cost you a dime. You've got this, neighbor. I'll see you out on the lawn.